we will move on to the next session by Dr.Sarjeev Singh Yadav. He is the e-Guru today.
Good morning, dear teachers. It's a privilege to introduce Dr. Sarjeev Singh Yadav, sir. He did his BSc Honours from prestigious Osmania University, and sir has been graduated from Madras County College, Madras University, and he holds a PG degree from GDC, Hyderabad. In a career span 2.5 long decades, sir has achieved several distinctions as an examiner for UG, PG, PhD, and a paper setter for various universities. He is a teacher par excellence, a guide, and mentor of clinical clinician. Sir is associated with active clinical research work, and he has presented a good number of papers at many national conferences. He is credited with 16 publications in national and international journals. He's authored several textbooks and contributed chapters in various reputed textbooks. He's given keynote lectures and has conducted 112 guest lectures, workshops, and hands-on courses. Sir works with the motto of service to both physical and mental satisfaction of both the ends of service providers. We welcome you, sir, to deliver your valuable lecture.
Thank you very much. Guru Brahma, first of all, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, rather. And thank you to Mahalakshmi Madam and Rajkumar. And thank you, Vidya, for your kind introduction. Most of the things what you have heard about me are lies. I was not a good student. I was a very bad student. But somehow I transformed myself into a good teacher, hopefully. Guru Brahma is the one who is the generator. He is the creator. Guru Vishnu is also called as Lord of Organization. Guru Deva Maheshwara is the Shiva. It's either Maheshwara is destroyer or the Shiva. Guru Shakshat Parbrahma means the Supreme or Almighty Guru. And it's the Guru who leads us to the path of light. And Tasmai Sri Guru Namaha means he is the realized soul. And the Guru is embodiment. Like Muhammad, in the beginning, I also have the same idea. How was our education system? Our education system was a Gurukul type of system, wherein people used to sit under the tree and listen to his Guru. There it was there. The kings or the parents choose what type of Guru that person required. When it was there in our ancient education, why not now? Is the question which I'm going to raise now. Previously, they used to go to a Guru. Nowadays, students are going to a Guru, but whereas previously parents used to go to the Guru and select them. Then slowly, we had got this traditional education of chalkboard and pencil, which was less interactive. It was a traditional classroom, chalkboard. It will not be eliminated. It is there to stay, but it will have less emphasis because of our health issues and corona issues. We have got what is called as modern education, and this modern education has books into bytes. Slowly, the books have become bytes, and these bytes have led to a new system of education wherein we are all new to this. Even I was very new to this system of education, what is called as webinars, what is called as interactive, interdependent, based on cloud services, based on technology. But we have all adopted. So now this lecture is basically to make us understand: are we adopted enough to become a teacher, or we still have got time to do? We have to improve ourselves. So what is the difference between a traditional education and a modern education? Modern education, here I mean e-education. Traditional education is both Guru Shishya as well as what is called as traditional chalk piece. Previously, it was teacher-centered, but now it has become something else. Then it was subject-specific knowledge. One-way traffic used to go there. The Guru used to teach, the students used to listen. It was passive and it was limited. It was theoretical. But nowadays, it is learner-centered. Modern education is learner-centered. The key to a good education, key to a good teacher is you should know how to listen. It is subject-specific. and skill-based knowledge. And there is a multiple transfer of knowledge takes place whenever you talk about modern education system. It's a two-way traffic. It's no more one-way traffic. And it is interactive and engaging for everybody. And it's conceptual and practical. So let us have a small quiz before we proceed further. I would request the moderator to put on the quiz. Which of the following is a characteristic of modern education? Single choice. Is it teacher-centric, multiple transfer of knowledge? It is theoretical or passive? I think most of you would have voted. This will be there for another half a minute. Take your choice. There is no pressure on anybody. You are all learners. So is the modern education is teacher-centered, multi-way transfer of knowledge? It is theoretical or is it passive? What was the role of the teacher in the past, and what is the going to 2001 said that the use of internet technology to deliver a broad array of solutions that enhance knowledge and performance was given in the year, not in 2019, when we all talk that COVID has changed us, but actually it was in 2001. Rosenberg said e-learning is the use of internet technology to deliver a broad array of solutions that enhance knowledge and performance. We as educators, we were always having this face-to-face classes. We came across to this e-learning or this e-webinars and all those things in 2019 or early 20s. But actually it was defined by Rosenberg 2001. Basically, e-learning is internet-enabled learning. And the truth of e-learning is e-learning has started reshaping education. Education will not be the source, will be the same in the next decade. Previously, it was a source of knowledge. Teacher was a source of knowledge. He was the fountain, but now he has become source of information. The students have all the knowledge. We have to just filter it so that they get a good filter rates of this information what they have got. We were the role models. We used to say, so and so sir speaks loudly, so and so sir smokes cigarette. We are no more the role models. They themselves are the role model for themselves. We are just the coaches. We can only tell them this is good for you, this is bad for you. This is the present day role of the teacher. We are instructors. We are no more instructors now. We are facilitators. They have the knowledge. We have to only facilitate so that they become better, good, better, and best. We were the leaders. No matter. No, sir. We are not the leaders. Previously, we used to either fear or respect our teachers, but nowadays we are just cooperators or collaborators. If I don't teach my students, they have got various means to get the teaching. They have got various methods to go to their other bosses and do their stuff. We are the authority. We were. Now we are just the managers. A parent will bring the child to us so that the child can grow and get his knowledge. We have to just manage them. We are no more authority. We are educators, but now we are supporters. Teachers are no more educators as far as my knowledge goes. We are just the supporters. We are experts, subject experts. We are just co-learners. We ourselves, like Maha Madam has told, every day in the life, every day in the classroom, every day in the college or in the hospital, we are co-learners. We have to learn to live. We are transmitters. We had the knowledge. We did our BDS, MDS, PhD, and we had some knowledge in our mind, which we transmitted to the students. Now, it's an open system. It's an e-system where we have to just coordinate the teaching. Internet has started reshaping education, and there is no going back. The traditional classroom has been transformed to education, which is as per the US Commission in 2010, I've told, there is no going back. COVID there or not there, some other epidemic there or not there, there is no go back. We have to all be ready for the traditional classroom has been transformed to web-based education. We were the preachers. We used to say a lot of things to our students. We were the preachers. Now we are just a social butterfly. From one classroom to the other, from one student to the other, from one batch to the other, we have to go and coordinate their growth. Chalk and board has long ruled the classroom. They will not be eliminated, but they will have less emphasis. Interactive digital content has got more emphasis, and their on-demand learning is there, and it will be interactive in the thing which is going to come up now. So how did the evolution, before we understand how to do e-teaching or how to be an e-guru, we have to understand the evolution of the digital world. How the digital world has come to this present state where we are speaking to each other and we are talking to each other. Somebody is sitting in Chennai, somebody is sitting in UP, somebody is sitting in Tamil Nadu, somebody is sitting somewhere else. I am sitting there in Hyderabad. In 1940 to 1956, it was the first generation computer based on vacuum tube. They were very bulky. They used to take the whole room. This is called as vacuum tube technology. Then after 1956 to 1963, just the year I was born, they were transistors. It is called as second generation digital world, where it was a little small. The vacuum tube got replaced, like our TV has got replaced with the thinner and thinner and thinner. Nowadays, you get a TV which can hold and take it. We'll come to that later. There were transistor technology. Then in 1964 to 71, it was IC, integrated IC, integrated circuit technology, where they were used to, these things where ICs were made, so that it became smaller and smaller, less bulkier. Then 1972, it came VSLIT technology, this fourth generation, 1972 to present. And what will be in the future? The future will be ULSIT, the fifth generation. It is the next thing to come, wherein robots will do the teaching. Okay, agreed. We have to teach the robots, but robots, we are not investing laws. Maybe I can see a future wherein teachers and machine makers or workers will get replaced by models. And this is the VSLIT and ULSIT are the things which has started the internet in our whole universe. So this is the evolution of the dental world. See, the world is changing. The parameters are changing. The students are changing. The parents are changing. Our administrators are changing. Our task is becoming more and more demanding. We are both, remember, we are both clinician as well as academician. To adapt to our clinics and to adapt to our teaching, adapt to our academics, adapt to our parents, to our students, to our children. It has become a very tough job. So be ready for it. So before we go into we have to first identify. We have to identify what are the various students nowadays with this, like the previous Shalini madam has told that there are various types of students nowadays from various socioeconomic backgrounds. But what exactly are these types of learners? We have got visual learners. They learn what they see. What happens is, when they learn what they see, it is called as visual learners. So what is happening with visual learners? Visual learners are basically those learners who can emphasize and learn from what they see. They are not interested in what you are speaking. They are not interested in what we are talking to them. They want to only visualize. To improve the learning capacity of these kind of learners, it's very important to know that we have to first give them graphs, take them to field spread. You don't talk to them of dental materials. You take them to the dental materials factory, they will understand better the composition and the setting. And you have got what is called as kinesthetic or physical learners. These are the learners who will learn from hands-on experience rather than listening to lectures or sitting in the class. They interact physically, they are restless, and they prefer to get their hand dirty into the work. They will not understand how to mix plaster of Paris. They will not understand how the rotary works, what is halfway motion, what they want to physically make their hand dirty. We call them dirty students, but they are the best learners. And how to encourage these kind of students? We have to identify and encourage them by having lessons. In between the lessons, you tell them to move around, do a lot of role plays. You give them well spaced or breaks between lessons to avoid moving, use props, use interactive models. And best thing is to improve this physical learner is declutter or remove all the material on as much minimalistic equipment should be there on the table or the lab or in the clinics or in the lecture. Declutter decks so that they will perform better because they can focus better. Then you've got auditory learners. What are these auditory learners? Auditory learners are those learners who can learn better when they listen to music, who can learn better when they listen to the teachers, who can learn better when they listen to audios, who can learn better when they listen, read the videos. So how to engage these visual learners or these auditory learners? You can use you can give lot of lectures to them. You can tell them to listen to the tapes, or you can tell them to listen to the broadcast. You can tell them to go to various places. Like when they don't understand the magnitude of the aptitude of the sound, you can tell them to go to next to a railway station, go to next to an airport when the flight is taking off. When they listen, they can correlate better with their, and they have got the inherent, all these learners. I'm going to show you line type of learners. All these learners are very well versed just by listening to the sound of the flight taking off and the sound of a car taking off, or for a train going next to them. They will correlate themselves with their own speeds of the handpiece. So these are called as auditory learners. Then you've got stress learners. What are these stress learners? People who are students who learn better when they are under stress. They will not study the whole long year. Moment their exams are announced, they start reading, and you will be surprised the amount of learning which they do in this 45 to 50 days before the exam is notified is 10 to 60 times more than what they do it in the whole academic year. So I'm not telling them to put them under stress, but also remember that when you get a student who is a stress learner, it is very important to identify him and give some deadlines to this kind of students or learner, and take it easy policy students. These are the students who learn to relax. They will learn better when they relax. When they are stressed up, these people don't learn. So don't stress these kind of students. Make them relax. Tell them to go to a break. Tell them to go to some, I will not say that, tell them to go to some outing, come back, learn. And they will learn better if they are sitting in a park. They will learn better if they are sitting in isolating or solitary. Identify some places in our classroom, or they can be kept in a corner wherein they will not have much of noise, so they can be relaxed. Then you got the scribbles. Scribbles are those who learn better when they write. Make them write. There's nothing, they enjoy it. Then you got trust. My child will not listen to a single word of mine. But if the same thing is told by his teacher, that don't do this, Chetan, don't do this, he will not do it. If we tell our children 10 times, don't do it, they'll say, no, my teacher has told to do it like this. So these are the learners who learn from authority. So make sure that these kind of students are taught by the person they trust. Don't force them to a person. Don't send them to a person where they don't get the trust. And these are our teachers. We can learn lessons from our teaching. When this task was assigned me by Maha Madam, or rather I have asked for my entry into this, and I also know that Rajkumar is also a culprit now. I have learned a lot of things when I started preparing for this e-group. Previously, knowledge was there, but it was not contemplated, whether it was not systematic, it was not in a proper way. So I'm a type of learner nowadays. These things change. So nowadays I'm learning from my own teaching. Then you have got what is called as a typical example of copying in the exams. Cut, copy, paste. I'm not telling copying in the exams, but these kind of students can learn better. They can do better if they are given notes to copy, if they are given some text to copy. If the more they write, the more they copy. See, everybody does not have the same IQ or EQ or whatever Q you call them. Some are little less developed, some are little more developed. We all have got 330 grams of gray matter. Einstein even had the 330 grams. But we all can't be Einsteins, and we can't be all beggars, so we can't be illiterates. So identify the student, what type of IQ or EQ he has got. Then you, depending on the type of the learning attitude of the students, it's very important to give them maps, diagrams, technology like projectors can be used. You can use color coding techniques, and you can also use various kind of pitches and tones for auditory reasons. You can record the recording this session. Is an auditory ear learner. You can listen podcasts. You can encourage class presentation, group discussion, debates, And for the verbal students, you can tell them to write down notes and voice their own ideas. Like I was told by my parents that you are very bad in memory. You have a task book, write down. So when I was young, I used to do lighting things to do, buy onions, buy that, go there, go here. And you should also include for the student games, word games. And these students have got a very broad, don't be surprised. These kind of students who are writers or scribblers, they have got tremendous vocabulary. Unless and until you dig into it, and you cannot even find out. These kind of the students are one who will learn better if you give them acronyms, or you can give them tongue twisters, you can give them what you call as crossword puzzles. And even though they are all these writers, you can call them as bookworms, but these bookworms are the one who will turn into a beautiful butterfly later. There are certain myths which has to be broken before we proceed further. And what is the myth? New teacher don't need any training in how to use technology within teaching. No, it's a myth. We are all learners. Every day in the life, we have to learn something or other. Even in the last day of our life, we have to learn how to die because we have never learned how to die. So every day, every moment, every second, every nanosecond is a learning experience. So it's a myth that new teachers don't need any training in how to use technology within teaching. I take this opportunity to thank Rajkumar, Mahamadam, and SRM for having this training session where we are training this. Even though it is very exciting, I'm scared inside because I'm teaching people who are somehow were my gurus. I don't know how to do this role play, but somehow I'm carrying on. So second myth is students only want to use mobile so that they can text or play games in the class. I'm sorry. Students are nowadays very much motivated. Students nowadays are very much focused to their target. They are oriented towards their future. Students, our children also don't want mobiles so that they can text or play games. I bought two iPhones, both for my daughter and my son. In that iPhone, you can make out how much time the person is spending. I found out that my son is spending 70% of his time watching uh, some educational material, whereas my daughter is 50-50, but somehow I hope that it goes up. So students don't use mobiles just for texting or playing games. And one more bad concept which you have got is parents want accept online textbooks. Parents will be rather happy instead of spending thousands of rupees to buy textbooks. Parents want accept online. They accept online textbooks. And if the student happens to be one who is a reader, they can take a black and white printout. You should try to minimize the amount which you spend on monitor reading, because monitor reading is very we should discourage the student to read on monitor. It has been a concept right from beginning. If I read 10 lines in monitor, by the time it is evening, I remember only one line. Next day morning, I forget everything because just KBs. So if I read in a textbook, or if the student reads in the textbook, you will use a highlighter, you will use an underliner, you will use something else. You will get visual perception, which is retained for the long time, because textbooks are not bright and illuminated monitors. Online teaching or learning undercuts the role of the teacher. No, teacher can never be replaced. It is a fact that we cannot replace anything which is concerned with teaching. There is so much great content online for teachers to use in the classroom. What's the problem? It's the biggest problem. The more the material is the biggest problem for the student, it's as well as a big problem for the teacher. Greater the content, greater the filtering required, greater the effort which have to be put in. We'll go to the next slide. How to filter this content which is there. It's a myth. It's not a. It is a problem. One more thing is a myth is just put technology X, Y, Z. E is equal to MC square in the classroom and magically students will learn more. No, they'll not learn. We have to identify the type of the student is and try to give a proper perspective to that student. Knowing it and seeing it are two different things. Suzanne Collins, I will add, knowing it, seeing it, and doing it are three different things. If I know something, I understand. If I see something, I know. But if I do, I can do. So knowing it, seeing it, and doing it are three different perspectives. So we have to balance between teaching and technology. Teaching and technology. How to balance between the teaching and technology? opening doors. Now we are going to the real lecture. Before I go into the real lecture, no, it will take some time. And now what is the issue is, one moment. When slide number 12 comes, you'll get one more question. So be ready. That questions will become tougher and tougher. I'm not trying to test you. We have to just learn where we stand, like that teachers AA, like Shali Madam told. So new ideas for digital learning. How to do this digital learning when we are young, when we are teachers, when we are students, UG, PG, PhD, when we become assistants, tutors, assistant, associate professor, professor, HOD, principal, dean, duck. We never had this idea about digital learning. I never perceived myself that one day I'll be sitting in front of all these people who are here and trying to talk to them and give some of my knowledge which I have gathered because of my help of my resource persons and my department. And first you have to do what is the learning objective. When you start to do e-lectures or you want to do even regular lectures, it has been modified from a regular lecture to e-lectures. What are the learning objectives? A e-guru caters to novice, that is a newcomer or expert user of technology. He has to achieve, after the end of this lecture, I hope that at least few of these 5 primary objectives are met. He should be aware about the exploring tools. He should be aware how to gather resources, because a lot of content out online. If you want to search for one thing, you'll be ending up with getting 1,000 things. And by the time you get to the thing, to put it into a PPT, your mind is diverted, you get a WhatsApp message, you go to somewhere else. So you have to be very focused and you have to be very disciplined when you gather resource. And you have to learn how to navigate the web. I would tell my students, I'll tell my children also, I'll tell all the people who are associated with me, friends and everybody, you can do Google search, but you should, one day, one of you, when you are free, I request all of you, I will rather say, not request, I would say to all of you, type in the Google, how to search Google. It's not everybody's cup of tea to search in Google. You cannot search in Google for things when you don't know how to manage Google. So you type in the Google once you'll become free today evening or after 1 week when Maha Madam leaves us. Just type in the Google how to browse or how to search in Google. You'll be surprised by the answers you will get. You'll get a lot of broadcasts. And you have to design after exploring the tools, gathering the resource, navigating the web. Now we have to design learning experiences and interactions for the students. And by doing this design, learning, experiment, interaction, you will get self-empowerment of both the student and the teacher. So what is digital learning? Any type of learning that uses technology, anything that involves digital platform, tools, system, application by the learning. Even doing WhatsApp is one type of digital learning. Even doing Google Meet is a one type of digital learning. Even Zoom, like we're doing now, it's digital learning. It's an online course. It is conducting internet research, looking for papers, publication, watching online videos, using digital tools, devices, face to with or without the teacher. It's digital learning. See? Now, slowly, when we had the books, it became bytes. Now, these laptops or mobiles are sending the bytes, and it is coming out just by the touch of your finger or by touch of your tab. It's going to your mind, and you are becoming what? Now, if you want to be a good digital learner, you should have this, what you call, you should be a visual learner. You should train yourself, or you should train our students to be a good visual learners, because you'll get a lot of visuals, you'll get a lot of graphs, and you see it online. What's the difference from online learning from normal learning? Online learning uses the internet as a form of communication. There's a difference between digital learning and online learning. E-learning is different and digital learning is different. E-learning is specific to the subject, specific to the things which you are on. Online learning is just you are browsing the internet without any objective. You want to learn something, it's not possible. Like she wanted, I'm sorry about the sex picture about the female here. It is not being sexist. She wanted actually to become a teacher. Now it started. She wanted to become an academician. Now slowly it has gone and she has started. Maybe she's watching how to cook or how to do something else. What's e-learning? E-learning is happening virtually. The students do not have face-to-face interaction. Sometimes, see, remember one thing, it is very difficult for us to have a face-to-face interaction with the students. And it involves materials, coursework, and communication that take place online. The virtual learning requires emails, forums, charts, online group discussion, placards, video conference, are primary means of communication learning. And I would request the moderator madam to put up the question number 2 so that people will get an idea. How is digital learning different from e-learning? Is it conducting internet search? Is it online course? Or is it using digital tools? Or is it all of the above? And fortunately or fortunately for you and unfortunately for us, your questions are not, your answers are not individualized. It's a group answer, so don't worry. This thing has been introduced so that whatever effort the organizers are making, sometimes our students, they'll put the video off, audio off, and go to some lecture or go to some other place. Thank you. So how do you create a digital learning strategy? Step 1, define your training objective. You have to define your training objective. What is our training objective? What do you want to teach the student in that particular class or in that particular session, in that particular year or in that particular quarter, whatever you, what is your training objective? And the objective, you always remember that it should be well defined. You just can't say that I want to be a doctor. In how many years you want to be a doctor? What sort of doctor you want to become? Where do you want? These are the training. A goal should be well defined. It should be time specific. So whenever you take a class or whenever you want to define training objectives, it's always important to know that you have to define the training, not only what lecture. I'm going to speak today on rotary endodontics. That is not the objective. The full objective will be you want to speak on rotary endodontics with 3 lectures, 2 demos, and I will finish this class in 45 to 3 sessions. That should be training objective. And you should also know and define the type of the audience you are going to train, whether it's a first year undergraduate or a first year postgraduate, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a young teacher, whether it's a tutor, whether it's your own boss, whether it's your principal or whatever. You have to define the audience before you start the objective, before you start the learning strategy. You have to define. All these years, we are all used to talking to the student. Not suddenly now things have changed here. You are talking to the audience who are already trained, maybe more trained than us or maybe more trained than me. I can't speak about others, but I'm very sure there are people here who are well versed, more versed, and who are doing better than me, and they'll do more better than me. So you have to always define the audience. And you should set up the scope of instructions. You cannot, you cannot wander. Whenever you're doing learning, e-learning, you cannot have the habit of wandering from. You cannot be a butterfly. You can't wander from one topic to the other. You cannot, because you have prepared certain material, which is based, basically it is, you have made it in a computer or laptop or whatever, iPad. But we have to operate that. We have to show the slide. We can't, if it is a textbook or if it's you are teaching from a mind, or you're teaching verbally, our mind can jump from places to places. It can jump from, our hands can jump from one text, whereas in computer, it is not so well. We have not come to that 5th generation of teaching. So we have to set up the scope of instructions. And you have to link the method to the objective. The method of delivery should be linked to the objective. What platform you are going to use, whether it's interactive teaching, whether it's hand-to-hand teaching, single unit, double, that will come to the methods later. So we have to first define the training objective, define the audience you have got, and what type of instructions or what type of lesson you want to tell. Then you have to link the delivery method to the objective. These are very easy things. You do it routinely, you'll get to it. So don't worry about it. And you have to create a digital learning schedule. A schedule has to be created. Nowadays, in the era of information technology, one small mistake will disturb the whole sheet. So we have to create a log. What time, what what time, what date, which year it is going to come, because the links don't work once the time period elapses. So we have to create a digital learning schedule. As a teacher and as a responsible teacher, I would request all of you to don't go for non-paid Zoom or Google or whatever. See, 45 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes are not enough. Pay for it. We are being paid. Why we are paid? The question who is paying is not the question here. The question is why we are paid. We are paid because we have to train our students. Plan for assessment. After you give the feedback, you plan for assessment. And before I go to the next slide, I would request the audience to put up the madam to put up the question number 3. It's a very simple question. It's not a complicated, it's a direct question. How do we teach? For curriculum is how we teach, what we teach, and who we teach, or none of them. It's a very simple question. Thank you very much. So what are the types of e-learning? It can be lesson-based learning, one-to-one learning, one-to-one. Even though the pupil is next to the teacher and the teacher is next to the pupil, it's a one-to-one learning. They are seeing a pad there. She is not seeing a textbook, neither she is teaching from the textbook. It's a one-to-one learning. It can be a group learning where a teacher or instructor is talking to a group of students from various origins. With the need coming in, we have got all India students. We have got students who are not well versed in English. There are students who are not well versed in local language. There are students who are not well versed in other than the local language. So you have to always be very careful when you are going group learning, or when you are doing group learning or one-to-one teaching. It's very bad manners to teach or speak in a language which is not understood by all. It would be rather be called as gossiping. It can be a course-based learning. It can be a video-based learning. Through the videos, you learn it. You will be sitting somewhere else, or you can be sitting next to them watching their video. It can be article-based learning, like our journal clubs. We have a journal club. So here, we have done a lot of seminars. We all have done a lot of journal clubs and seminars through the e-platform. It can be a self-paced learning. Self-paced is depending on the time available to the student, depending on the time available to the teacher, keep it there. It can be paced by the needs of both the instructor. It can be app-based learning. Nowadays, the in thing nowadays is the apps. It can be game and activity-based learning. You play a lot of games. You can play roles, play models. You can have activities like Madam had showed first year BDS students. How wonderfully they were explaining about the various stages in cases. And they got the result in the feedback form. It can be a game and activity based. You can tell the students to go along with the patient quietly the back and get the feedback, actual feedback. They'll write so many reviews. But when we go out of our site and they go out of our hearing range, you will get the real review. That can be one of the activities. The students who have done just an average filling, or a teacher who has done just an average teaching in a lecture, I would advise the teacher to go quietly behind, or you identify one person, you tell him to go behind and see what type of feedback you are getting. That is the true feedback. In front of me or front of you or front of the examiner, they will say 110 things. Out of that 110 things, all 110 things might be wrong, or it might be boosted up. It can be a lesson a day warning. Every day you learn a lesson. It's time to learn. Now it's the time for 2 questions for you people. Question number 7 and question number 8, please. A small discussion during class is an example of direct instruction, indirect instruction, both A and B, neither A or B. Group discussion. Is it direct instruction or direct teaching, or it's indirect teaching? It's both indirect and direct teaching. It is neither indirect or direct teaching. Next question. Important question for us. I modified the question. Actually, it was something else. So I modified this question, and seminars and journal clubs should be provided daily or weekly or whatever is the schedule. As extension of clinical and academic learning, it should be fit for the learner. We heard a point. You should assess, you should give them, you should not stress them. So this question relates to that. It should be fit for the learner and something for the student and the teacher or a group of teachers or the department meeting. You should decide which student, which seminar. So basically 4 questions, 1 answer. You should be provided daily, an extension of clinical and academic learning. It should, the seminar journal club should be fit for the learner. I mean, it should be learner centered or student centered or something for the teacher to decide alone or decide together with the student. So what are the types of e-learning? There are basically 3 types. Asynchronous online coaching or course. Here is you see the diagram here. It is asynchronous. There are so many things here. You are learning about research. You are learning about, one time you are hopping into that publication. One time you are going and watching a video. One time you are doing practicals. Then you are doing research and exploring the internet, looking for sites. This is called as asynchronous online course. They can be synchronous online course, wherein you all decided beforehand by the instructor what type of material is going to give. Here it is synchronous. Everybody is learning the same thing. Everybody is going to a set of pattern. Sometimes people, especially students or the learners who are not, I'll not say talkative, those who sit in a corner, stay to themselves, they are more suited for asynchronous online courses. Or students who are very busy in their life with certain things in the life. So they are not, they cannot be a good material for synchronous online course. And you have got also called as hybrid course, where you both have synchronous and asynchronous coaching. And question number 3, please, madam. What type of online course? I give the answer. What type of online course is effective for students who are busy and have got time constraints? They might have some emergency or they might be busy with something else. It is a synchronous online course, hybrid online course, asynchronous online course, or they can fit into any of these 3 courses. Next question here is the online course that mimics a webinar. Online course that mimics or looks like a webinar or acts like a webinar is a synchronous online course, asynchronous online course. Sorry, I'm asking you questions. You can, whenever you meet, you can get it back to me. But I thought it will increase the interest of the audience. Don't worry, there are only 6 more questions. The online course that mimics a webinar is synchronous online course, asynchronous online course, hybrid online course, or none of the above. One of the choices are correct. Thank you very much. So what are the some good practices which you have to consider before you do a e-lecture or you want to become a good e-guru or a communicate proactively. You should communicate proactively. Instead of the student coming to us beforehand, you should ask the question to students what sort of doubts you have got, what type of classes you have missed, what type of lecture you would like to have, what type of subject would you like to have, whether you want a revision card or you want a first class. You should be able to get, you should not speak what you want to speak. You should speak. There's basically 3 types of persons I have identified. One is the active person who will give a signal, who will act when he gets a signal. There's some inactive persons who will not even get act before after they get a signal. And there's something called as proactive person. Before he gets a proprioception or a signal, he will actively consider the answer for that. That he should be able to the question come. And he should use the complexities. When I was in first year BDS learning anatomy, and I was learning from the standard Gray's anatomy, when I was reading Robbins, I came across one term, not uncommon. It is not uncommon nowadays for the teachers to be very flexible. I used to get very confused. At one go is telling not, at the time is telling not uncommon. See, you can understand not common for the teachers. You can understand common for the teachers. But how do you understand not uncommon? It was very perplexing for me to understand. It took me 2-3 years to understand not uncommon stand between common and not common. So you should not be complex when you're taking e-lectures. As itself, nowadays, now 3G, 4G has come. When we are there in 2G or 4G, we used to take eons together for our voice or our video to go. Be realistic. Don't try to complete all your lecture or complete as itself. We are not seeing the audience. As itself, the audience is not seeing you. Be realistic. Set some goals which are realistic and which can be achievable. You overnight, you cannot make them advantage by taking 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 lectures. Be realistic in our target. Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I will learn. This should be the key for a good practice to become a good e-teacher. You people, we are all teachers by experience. We are all good teachers by our constant interaction. But these things are new to us. So remember this. Students' perception about e-teaching is this. Tell me, I forget. Teach me, I may remember. Involve me, and I learn. That means you should always have to as far as possible. You should together. Where we have got e-teaching as well as face-to-face teaching. We cannot forget about classroom. We cannot forget about blackboard. How do you communicate with your students? Very important. I can say, hey, you are talking nonsense. Or I can also say that, hey, you are not talking sense. Both have got the same these things. You should know how to communicate. Our body language, our tone, our pitch, tenor should be very mild. Parents have left our students to us. Even online, if you shout at a student online, remember one thing, it will come under online bullying. There. If we shout in the lecture, if we shout in our chambers in front of the students, there is no proof. But online, it is considered as online bullying. So please don't shout at your students or anybody who is listening to lecture. We have got certain acts in Indian Constitution, IT laws, where it will be we can be booked under online bullying. So very careful. How do you communicate with your students in an online lecture? Because you're leaving a proof there. How often will you communicate with your students? It is very important to constantly engage your students, and it's very important that it should be more often than not. It should not be more often than not. It should be more often. And it's always important for what the feedback we had discussed, Maha Madam and Shalini Madam and discussed. You should always have communication, the communication channel between the student and the instructor or the teacher or the professor or whatever student, whatever there should be a two-way traffic. A good student is the one who questions teachers. A good student is the one who raises his hand. A good student is the one who always talks to his instructors or his mentor or his teacher. I am not telling this, was told by Jawaharlal Nehru when he came to inaugurate Nagarjuna Sagar. Did not tell all those, just told one sentence. A good student is identified the way he asks questions with the authorities. And one more important thing, how well your students communicate with each other. I tell my students, you should have healthy competition. Don't have an unhealthy competition by not showing them what they took in the last class, not giving them recording, not giving them. That's not healthy. We should tell our students you should have healthy communication with each other, and you should know how to communicate with sense. Synchronize your talking. That nowadays, now I'm all speaking now. If somebody else speaks in between, it becomes asynchronous communication. So we keep ourselves on mute. Same way, instead of our system being on mute, if our system is not on mute, you should be able to talk to a person. When you're doing e-teaching, you should always speak to a person only after he has finished. Or you should speak to a person or speak in a group in e-teaching after taking permission or raising your hand to speak. Otherwise, what will happen is, how does the teacher teaches the media? It's the experimental learning. You can learn by experience, you can learn by reflection, you can and then you can apply. These are all experimental learnings which we are doing from past 2 to 3 years, especially this. concept of e-learning. Then this is also called as pedagogical learning. Pedagogical learning is concrete to abstract. Something is there concrete. There can be observation, it can be a motivation, there can be individualization, there can be activity, and they can be socially socializing. These are pedagogical principles. And they can also have got pedagogical consideration. You should encourage interaction from the students whenever doing e-teaching. You should be organized and well prepared, like we have told before. You should be having a goal. You should guard against overuse. You should never put your mode of e-teaching on admin only. Keep it open. See, if I can translate the words which I've been hearing today in the afternoon or previously also, with due apologies, we used words like we were scared of our teacher. We used to run away from the floor where our teacher was talking. We used to knock and enter the door. Even after knocking, we used to wait for coming to an. That was autocracy. Now it is democratic teaching. We were all we understood. We have understood what troubles went out when we were students. We were basically, with due respect to all my teachers and to all my gurus, we had an atmosphere of autocracy. We had an atmosphere of emergency. Now that is not there. Now it is democracy. It is interactive learning and it is interactive teaching. And you should be accessible all the times. Even though you get complaint from your spouses, it's very important as a clinician as well as a teacher to be accessible to your students. Because late night a student might get a doubt about his thesis, what to print where, and the next day might be a deadline. So you should be accessible and you should be a direct learner. You should give direct attention to the learner. How do you give a direct attention to the learner? It's by looking into the eyes of you should look into the eyes of your camera of your, this thing, of your monitor or whatever. You look directly in the camera, all the students who are listening to you, all the audience who is listening to you will think that they're looking at you. There's one small trick. If you want to have eye-to-eye contact, and if you are by some social or for other health reason, you cannot have eye-to-eye contact. I tell my other students, look at the back of the wall and look at the wall, right and left, right. All these think that you are looking at them. So these are two things. When you're doing regular face to face, look at the back of the wall and turn your head slowly from right to left. Don't look at the student. When you're looking at doing a e-lecture, do like this, look at the camera and turn your head right and left. They'll think they're all looking at you. There are certain tricks. Level of adopter. You can be a adopter. You can be early majority, late majority, laggard. We are laggards. Whereas our students are early, they may not be innovators in a different field. Innovators are same age group people who are innovating these things and troubling us, or rather improving our teaching. But our students are early adopters, and we all as the teachers we are not in early majority, we are in late majority, which is called as laggards. We have come to this technology. For them, they are born with technology. For us, we have been raised by this technology. When I was young, my mother used to carry me in her lap and show me chandamam and make me eat whenever I used to throw fuss. Nowadays, we are showing our children, our grandchildren, mobile phone and telling them to learn. They are born with. It is not their fault that when we were born, these things were not there. So we have become what is called as we are late majority. Most of the audience here are late majority, and we are laggards. We are not utilized, we are not used to this system. So always remember, we should identify where we are standing so that we can know where we have to go. To book a taxi or Uber or first thing we'll know what level we are standing when you're doing this. And you should never have shoestring approaches. We have already discussed this. Never work or for a student, for a school or a college where they have limited. Never buy open version. Don't buy versions. Told you spend some strategies. You should be more resourceful, and then only it become meaningful. You should use your local resources. You can use resources like your colleagues. You can ask them to make a group fund if you are management or if you're college, especially in government institutes, very difficult to, because all the government colleges are on shoestring budget because of the other consideration. So you should have our local resources, either it can be your parents, or it can be your friends, or it can be your spouse, or it can be your own bank account. You should have different subjects. You should have different people to whom you can approach. It's we have all seen. We have seen OHP. We have seen DVD projector. We have seen LCD. And nowadays we have got boards, e-boards. We have got ICT enabled teaching aids. We have got sophisticated infrastructure. We have got cloud-based service. We have got internet-based service. We have got blockchains. We have got operating system. We have got so many other things. Yesterday itself, I was watching Tank Shark. What that person is, there were only two technologies in the world as far as we knew. Till yesterday, as far as I knew, there was only iOS and Windows. But all our mobile phone runs on Android. Our computers runs on Android system, even though it's called Windows, it runs on Android. Our mobile runs on Android. So they have integrated, it is a made in India operating system where they have integrated the app technology, that's the Android technology into the in and they have sold around 3 lakhs operating system has been downrated. It is called as micro teaching nowadays. You should know what are the different types of teaching aids available. It can be a board, it can be nowadays you see a lot of back and writing, it will look as if he's standing in front of a blackboard. It's called as the e-board. So it should be adopted. You should learn what are the in and out of those things. You go to a lecture and this lecture, there will not be a LCD projector. There might be a board there. How well prepared, even with your PPT or your lecture, if there is a board there, sometimes you'll get a lot of monitors in front of you when you're speaking on a big platform. So you'll have what is called as a window to the feed. So it should be updated with all these teaching aids so that you should be able to use this media very gracefully. Now, please, madam, question number 6. One question, madam. And question number 5 also. 4, 5, and 6. Madam. The question here is very simple. We hear it every year. Pedagogy, half an hour, 5 minutes questioning, 25 minutes duration. What does the word pedagogy means to you? It's teaching style, instructional method, it's a teaching theory, feedback and assessment, or it is D, all of the above. Pedagogy, we have it in the exam. We tell the student this is your topic, or he will choose his own topic. We'll give him 30 minutes. And 25 minutes he'll be allowed to speak. 5 minutes we'll ask him questions. But what exactly is pedagogy? Is it teaching style or instruction method, or it's a teaching theories, or it's a feedback and assessment, or it's all of the above? Thank you. Professor Braca Rosaline in 2012. See, we are very late. We are 1 century late. So they defined in 2001. And instruction, teaching, development, effective principles of instruction, helping teachers develop effective lessons on an internet platform given by Professor Barker Rosenstein in 2012. Always begin a lesson with a short review of the previous learning, like we see in TV serials. What's going to happen next? What happened previously? Whenever you take e-learning, always remember that our memories, when you see internet or when you see a movie or when you see a TV screen or when you see a monitor, we always tend to forget very fast. So always start your lesson with a short review of previous learning. So what you have taken is short review. And then you present a new material with a small step followed by student practice. Always have to have. If we had times where we were asked to do the PCC work in the second year at their own home. They had their own micro motor. They had the tooth. They bought the typhoid down. Even though they didn't have the whole setup, they at least have that They didn't have the mannequins. They had that jaws bought from a local depot when there was a relaxation. Now we were in a fix. How to set right this? We don't know whether the students is really doing the cutting or they're just listening to us, seeing our videos, sitting at home, enjoying the lockdown. So what we did is we told each and every student, we created small groups. We had 8 to 10 staff here. So we created a group of 10, 10, 10. We have told the instructors and we have told the batch of the students, you put on your video and show us how you are cutting, what angle you are putting this thing. So you should always make the students practice what we preach. Ask them questions and check the answers. Here we are not checking the answers. We are just to make the interest pepped up. Use models. Use lot of models. Just don't put a PPT with lot of what you call material. Don't put more than 4 or 5 lines. Don't put more than 20 words in one slide presentation, please. If you put lot of material, they'll be confused. Use models. Put the minimalistic approach. Declutter. You should guide. You should guide and practice. You should guide and practice them so that they'll have a better outcome. The sixth one is check for understanding, whether they really understood what you are teaching them on the online platform. And if you want to attain a high success rate, it's very important that you should always take a feedback. You should take a feedback. You should know what they are learning. Then only you get a high success rate. And provide certain steps. Don't straight away tell them to do a composition. Provide scaffolds in difficult scars. First, teach them on, if you're doing online teaching, first teach them how to do a small seminar. Then you tell them how to do a big journal club. Then you tell them how to write an article. You can teach them all these things can be taught online, but only thing is it will take time. So you should provide certain steps whenever the task is difficult. Stimulate. It should be stimulative. It should monitor independent practice. You should monitor whatever doing practicing, either by a video or by your presence there at that time from a distance. You should always have a monthly or weekly or by fortnightly reviews of what you have been taught and what they have learned. So this is as far as the 10 steps which will make you a better e-teacher. We always been learned. I have been always got before I saw this particular picture. I used to think it is the survival of the fittest told by Darwin. No, he said it is not the strongest species that survives, not the most intelligent, but the most responsive to the change will survive. I used to seriously, I used to think Darwin said survival of the fittest. No, he said survival of the fittest is there, but it's not only intelligence, but it's the most responsive. That means the person who can get adopted to the change, who can get adopted the change only can survive. The era of large classrooms, the era of diverse students, the era of diverse needs, we have to know how to handle the changes which are challenging and demanding, and they hence require what you call our attention. One moment, please. Attention. So we should be adaptable. Basically, in one word, we have to adapt to the change. Only thing constant in our life is the change. Other than change, there's nothing which is constant. And how to navigate the web? I've been telling navigate the web, navigate the web. How to basically navigate the web? So how to navigate the web? You have to you should have some certain, there's a good article on web, Wikipedia. Just type navigating the web. You should use the navigation tool allow you to visitors to experiment the site with most efficient and least incompetency. You should not waste time on the web. It's a very addictive stuff. I'll tell you one thing. Every year I take 3 days. Every month I take 3 days of detoxify from the net. I put myself internet off for 3 days every month. Sometimes I come back. I'm also a human being. So net navigation is similar to roadmap, which enables the web page visitor to explore and discover different information content within the website, within the World Wide Web. So different type of navigations are hierarchical website navigation, where there is hierarchy, where there is home page, there is some other pages. So there is a hierarchy. Or you can also go to in the bottom of every website, you'll get what is called as site map. If you are confused with the icons, you go to the site map in the bottom, click on that site map, you'll get it like a road map, where to go for what, where to go for local service, where to go for administration. And you also have what as global website navigation, If you learn hierarchical website navigation, you go to the, we don't have much of the time. You go to the Wikipedia and type navigating the bit, you will get. It's there in my references. The link is there. So you can also do local website navigation is navigation within the intranet, like our patients record, like our department. Intranet is different from internet. Intranet is within it ourselves, we have to search. So that is the thing. And types of navigation, you can use the navigation bar, you can use the site map like we have discussed, or you can do a drop-down menu. iOS system works on drop-down menu. Whenever you want to enter the date, you get a drop-down menu. Whenever you want to go to some other section, get a drop-down. Whereas Android works on navigation bar. Sometimes you get new websites are now coming out with fly out, menu will fly out. So once you get your concern, like when you book for IRCT, you get, when you go to Netflix, on the top you'll give ads which will be going right, left, one after 2-3 seconds. If you put okay, but once you see the movie or the like of any content of your liking, you just put the okay button, that thing will start. That is called as flyout menu. Then you can go to named anchors are there. You can see it. So there are certain online education resources like for oral health. You just type oral health and we go for professional resources. We get sites like Animated Tooth, Cavity Free Kids, Know Your Tooth, Healthy Mouth, Oral Health Foundation. These things will come. Just speak in the Google mic or any other mic. Just speak oral health, professional resources, organization. You'll get these things. Our phones have become more smarter than us. That's why it's called as a smartphone. It doesn't mean that we are not smart. We are only operating it. So like you'll get websites like this. When you click on Animated Tooth, you'll get a website like this. When you click on Cavity Free, Know Your Tooth, you'll get a website like this. When you click on Mouth Healthy, you'll get a site like this. Sometimes you also get American Dental Association. You will get Angel Orthodontist, depending on the type of. See, remember one thing, it's all artificial intelligence. After few times you do it, he will know what we want. He is so intelligent. So you keep on searching for ADEC, or you keep on searching for IACDE, or you keep on searching, he'll give you that. If you say professional resources, he will give you JOD, JOE. It depends. It basically AI is nothing but data. The more the data you feed, the more refined you'll become. So you keep on typing Netflix, he'll only show you Netflix. He'll show you dental movies on Netflix. So try to be very professional. Have one mobile for your personal use. Have a smartphone for your professional use. So that you'll not be blamed if anything goes wrong tomorrow. So this is how you navigate the web. So what are the 10 types of visual aids for learning? We have got posters. Not our regular posters. These are e-posters and remind the students. So we have to create posters instead of creating seminars or instead of creating PPTs. I would advise, I'm not nobody to advise, I would tell my colleagues, don't go for PPTs every time. Go for OHPs, make posters, put up the posters, ask them questions. Sometimes whenever the student is there who has got better visual, is a visual learner, he will learn more from this little poster here rather than what he can learn or she can learn from our PPT. Education information should be simplified. The aim should be, you should simplify a complex information. You have to put charts, you have to put pie diagrams, you have to put these things. You have to be innovative. You can't put just lines like that. You have to use your pencils or something else and change it. So it should be able to simplify. You should be able to put it in a very simple matter, complex information. Types of caries, 1, 2, 3. Don't write 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a chart or have a play role like this college in this DY metal students had. Try to make it more student friendly by play roles, or even if you're doing it on your own. We can't, the students don't expect us to come and stand there and dance. But only thing is you can make it and you can animate. You can animate and put it there so that whenever they are free, they can watch this video. Creative presentations to keep the students engaged with the lesson, like Mohammed. I was seeing our PPT about the objectives of this thing. Most of the time, my attention was fixed. How did she got this cloud? How did she get these mountains moving? Madam, I'll ask you one day, please tell me, how did you get that mountains moving? These are the things which will make the things creative. See a backdrop, using a similar backdrop, recognizing the trend and everything. It's creativity. Educational charts to make the data accessible, always be accessible. Put your charts. You come to my department, you go to most of the department, a lot of charts are displayed in the labs, in the clinics, in the lectures. Display charts. There's nothing wrong in it. Now it is very easy to make a chart. It's very difficult to maintain. That's a different issue. Student assessment reports with an approachable design. The approach should be the student should be approachable to you. You can have online forms, you can got feedback forms online, or you can put up Google forms. So the design, it should be designed in such a way that student also should know whether the answer is right or wrong. What is just the point of giving 10 out of 10 or giving 2 out of 10 when the student does not know where is the 8 he has gone wrong? The student also should know what is the answer to that question. Don't be like a NEET exam, UG and PG. We are never given the key. Always give the student. They are all selected people. Give them the key. Give them the answer. Classroom checklist to students, teachers, and parents on the track. Keep the track. Keep the parents in the loop. Keep the management in the loop. Keep the students. If you get a distinction, let the management be aware of it. Let the colleagues be aware of it. Don't compete within your department, within your own college. Compete with something which is high. So always have a classroom with checklist to keep tracks of the students, teachers, and parents. Remember one thing, when these children, our students were studying in +2 level, they were all studying in some institute like Narayana and Chaitanya. What they used to do, the moment our ward used to come late or don't go, we used to get a phone call. So here also, we don't have this habit of keeping a track and keeping the parents in the loop of the performance of the student, we might lose the student. You should have research reports to make data and insights engaging. School leaders to get students, parents, and teachers excited about the events. Nowadays, with the advent of WhatsApp, we are seeing a lot of newsletters. I'm very happy to see. We are able to see what is other colleges doing. We are able to compete. We are either competing with them or raising our standard. Don't go into depression. Don't go into jealousy. We have a healthy competition. When I see WhatsApp of others, newsletters of prestigious institutes which have got NAC, it it should provoke us to do better than what they are doing rather than feeling the negative factor about it. Like our pins and posts, whenever our picture comes on pins and posts, our students also see these pins. So you should have newsletters like pins and posts, education calendar to keep students and patients informed, lesson plans to help you stay organized and inspire other educators. You should have lesson plans. You should have a diary. You should have what is called as the e-diary. You go to a Udupi hotel nowadays. I've noticed one strange thing which has hurt me a lot. 1 year back, I've noticed this, around a year back. I went to a Udupi hotel, ordered idli vada. That fellow took out his tab and typed idli to vada. I said, why do you do it? Sir, it's not just me knowing it. This same information goes to my cook. The same information goes to the billing section. The same information goes to the ward. If you are doing a parcel, it will go to the watchman. Then I realized, when these people can do these things, why can't we make our data entry perfectly like these people are doing? When people who are doing business can do like this. The moment a patient comes to our department, you just enter the name, age, and sex and forget it. We don't do follow-up. We allot it to somebody or we do it ourselves. We don't have a follow-up. If you have a planned, what you call, treatment protocol and documentation, and it's very easy. Only thing is, you'll have to pay for it or you get do it yourself. I'm planning out something. I think I'll come out with some good news after, say, end of this quarter or maybe at the end of the second quarter. God willing, we'll have a monitored with follow-up of at least minimum of 3 years. So, how is the evolution of the learning tools? Old. What was old and what is new? what was old and what is new. First generation basic teaching aids, textbooks, blackboards, images, audiovisual, geographical maps, world. We had that globe which used to revolve. Even now people have globes on the tabletop which used to revolve. Then we had posters, wall charts, diagrams, graphical representation, models. These are all basic. Our students showing them models, showing them charts, showing them graphs, showing them maps. They're all internet aware. They're all e-literates. You can say that we are semi-e-literates. Then came the technology-enabled teaching aids. You had cinema projector, cassette recorders, OHP, overhead projectors. Then came TV, video, CD. These are all teaching aids. Third generation. ICT. We spoke about integrated circuit technology-enabled teaching device, desktop computers, DVDs, video sharing, interactive multimedia, data projectors, interactive smart boards. Even smart boards, according to IT people, even smart mode, which we proudly to show to our inspectors or to our friends who visit our institute, are become outdated. They are going out of fashion. Learner management system, basic cell phones, World Wide Web. Even the World Wide Web is going outdated. Is it? I was not aware. What is going to come in place of World Wide Web? Cloud services, smartphones, tablets, interactive e-books. You can get smart TVs, games, consoles, app stores. You get app widgets on smart devices, geolocational devices, integrated online environment. These are all based on LCUTI and UCVTI, which we have discussed in the fourth and fifth generation. These are the newer things. So be ready for the change. And before you become ready for the change, then we have a small question, question number 5. Madam, please, question number 5. Which of the following is the fourth generation learning tool? It's DVD, data projector, cloud services, World Wide Web. Fourth generation as per the evolution. The DVD, data projector, you can do it on an elimination basis. Data projector, cloud services, World Wide Web. This is the second last question, nothing to worry. Thank you very much. Now coming to self-empowerment. How do you do self-empowerment? The best way to do self-empowerment is you should think about the common man or the empowerment of our students. We have been assigned a student. We have to develop the skill, dive deeper into the expertise, create and find opportunities. You upgrade your skill set. And it's always good to do something which is new, something which is challenging. Try to get the digital literacy. You should do self-learning. If you are doing self-learning, you can be self-sustaining. You should have the interest. If you are interested, only do it. If you enjoy your work, do it. If you don't enjoy internet or if you don't enjoy e-teaching, it's better to assign the task to somebody else. Because if you are not able to have interest, you will not be able to create and identify opportunities. Then only you can get self-empowerment and empowerment of the students and everybody. Self-empowerment, enjoying what we are doing is very important. In spite of so many remarks or in spite of so many comments done by our by my colleagues here around 4 or 5 years back, this sir always buys the latest smartphone. Our teacher always goes for the latest laptop or pad. I did not mind it. When around 12 years back, when computers were new in India, you know what I did? I spent 60,000 and assembled I didn't know anything about computer. I assembled the third generation, this thing, what is monitor, that bulky monitor, IC based one, then that bulky CPU, everything. My spouse was very angry at me. She said, in this age, when it is 1998 or somewhere, you are spending 60,000 rupees, your salary is just 18,000 rupees. How do you are going to manage? I said, madam, I want to learn. I didn't know anything. I just sat on it every day. I used to give 2 hours to it. Slowly, I developed my interest. So basically, what I want to say is, it's very important to be, very important to be having interest in that. Unless and until you have that interest, you cannot get self-empowerment. So, take-home message. The take-home message is very clear in front of us. E-learning has become the center stage in various fields of education. Educators or the instructors or the professors have to continuously evolve themselves to keep up with changing technology. And you should always remember, you have to keep pace. Have we not kept pace from 1G to 5G? And are we not ready for 6G when it comes to our entertainment, when it comes to our pleasure, or when it comes to everything? Nowadays, we are living in a world without boundaries. I am sitting here and God has been kind to me. Neither am a staff or a student, any of the colleges there, but there are no boundaries, there are no time limits. Location is not a boundary. We had been previous that teaching and learning is pen, blackboard, and paper learning. Classroom has got different technologies. With the learning, with the changing concept, we have to learn, upgrade. We have to put a striking effort on teaching and learning, through which teaching can be made more happy, student-centric, powerful, and it should be easily accessible. So what are the things which we have to learn? We have learned so many things. We have learned about PPT, we have learned about Zoom, we have learned about Google, but things are not that. There are certain things we are still to learn. We have to learn module, we have to learn Jomala, we have to learn OLAT, we have to learn JoJo, we have to learn CMS, interactive board, e-beam, smart board. Smart boards are gone. Now you've got e-beams. Smart boards work within their own circuit, whereas e-beam, what I could gather in these few weeks, e-beams work on cloud services. All your information is not in your e-board. Sorry, it's not in your pen drive. Sorry, it is not in a hard disk. It is on the cloud. And cloud is very easily accessible, and it can be easily hacked. So you have to also learn how to protect our data, how to protect our student interest, their teaching, their evaluation. So we have to learn so many things. We have to even learn from chalk keys, we have come to smart pen. So there are certain things which we have to learn. Nowadays it is mandatory. It is not optional. We cannot become illiterates. So this is the take-home message, and one question after this, one last and final question. Teacher to perform the function effectively and efficiently, it becomes imperative. That is important for them to require the training in what? Professional growth and development, new skill and modern methodology, content knowledge and teaching methodology, or it is technical competence. A simple question. It is not for, it is actually the question is not teacher, it should be e-teacher. I'm sorry, we kindly magnified. If a e-teacher or e-lecturer or e-guru are to perform their function more effectively and efficiently, it is important for them to acquire training in what? A, professional growth and development. B, new skills and modern technology, content knowledge and teaching technology. D, technical competence. We have to always be aware. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry for I put you to this 10 questions. I'm feeling a lot of guilt in myself. No. I don't know why. So you should be aware as a e-teacher, what is happening. What is happening to our students, how they are learning. And you should also important, instead of going into the minds of our students, more important to go into our own mind and what did I experience. A learner, we are also learners. Learners should take time to reflect on the experience. I have taken a lecture. We all listened to a lecture from 12 o'clock to it's 3 o'clock now. So what we have gained, what is the take home and what did I experience? Do we have the time to reflect and share and publish the reactions and observation of what happened and what does it mean to us? Why did it happen? Why did this Rajkumar sir got this idea? Learner was trying to process all the information they gathered, trying to make sense into it. They should determine what is important, whether they can establish a pattern, whether a system, standard operating SOP, standard operating protocol can be laid. I think it's a time that either the IACDE or some other good body or a central authority or some university come with a standard operating protocol for e-teaching. That is my understanding of listening to all the webinars and all those sorts of various certified and non-certified programs, workshops. We do in India, at least in India. I don't know about other countries. I'm Indian, made in India, I'll die in India. In India, we don't have a standard operating protocol. Every day or other, we are getting invites. I've got lecture. I took lectures 2 days back. I took a lecture on Monday. I took a lecture on Tuesday. I'm taking a lecture today. And actually, today's lecture also clashed with one lecture which I have postponed to tomorrow. I've got one more lecture lined up till Saturday. We have, by the way, we have got our PG orientation. They are not aware. So there is no standard operating protocol in India as far as we go, whereas we can have a pattern can be established. And how does it relate to us? I want to listen to all the lectures. Most of us would like to listen to all the webinars which are going on. Sometimes some university is coming up with some lecture which is clashing with our own schedule. Sometimes it is coming. You are having it in US. I listen to a lot of webinars from US. I am linked with certain organizations there. So they broadcast. I get up in the morning at 2 o'clock, and my spouse, she poor lady, she looks at me like I'm a devil who has disturbed her sleep. So we have to understand in the context and the scenario, what is our future? I'm very sure that if we don't have a standard operating protocol for e-learning, at least I'm not talking about others in India, most of the colleges or most of the universities will shut down. Seriously, I'm telling you, they'll shut down because as a teacher, when we are not learned properly, what can we tell our students? Sometimes the university will not upgrade. They'll work on shoestring budget. So they will shut down. At the end of this decade, lot of colleges, not lot of, few of the colleges and one or two university will shut down because they're not upgrading. Neither they are upgrading the methodology of teaching, neither they're upgrading the teacher. Thank you, Rajkumar, Madam, for coming up with this beautiful concept. We used to have this teachers training program in our university. Once in 4 years, it is mandatory for us to go to our parent university and go and learn it. Now we are having it sitting in our rooms. So great teachers are not born in the mind of the students. They are born in the hearts of the students. And a good teacher, fortunately or unfortunately, it looks at your perspective. It consumes itself to light the way for others. So these are my references. These are all hyperlinked references. Wherever you want, you can click on this. I'll post this after this 1 week session is over. I'll give it to the organizers so they can post it, or you can go through the recording. In the recording, you can't hyperlink this because this is .jpg image. You cannot put any hyperlinks on .jpg. You have to put it in PDF. And thank you very much. Let's redefine education with digitalization. It's very imperative. And thank you very much. Thank you to my resource credits, Dr. Kavita and Bhavna. Thank you, SRM team, SRM led by Ravi sir, Mahalakshmi Madam, Raj Kumar. I thank everybody for your patient hearing. I thank everybody for my constant asking you question. Thank you very much. I hand over the floor to the moderator. Before that, let's redefine education with digitalization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarjeev, for that extensive lecture on not only on digitalization, but so many aspects of teaching. I'm sure all the listeners would have definitely benefited from that. Since we are running late, so I think we will keep the question answers towards the end of during the panel discussion. And we really thank you from the bottom of our heart for that wonderful lecture of yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the certificate.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
So now we conclude today's session. Tomorrow we start at 12 o'clock. Tomorrow we will be starting on time at 12 and going on for the third lecture of this program. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, madam.